Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic for the Times Cryptic Crossword Masterclass. And it's me today. Simon couldn't do it, so I'm going to have a go at today's puzzle. And this is an absolute hospital pass. I don't normally look at the snitch ratings, the same day numeric index of Times cryptic hardness, but I've done it today because I know Simon does look at these. And today's puzzle has a snitch so far. These do change. This is early in the day, but they don't tend to change a vast amount. And it's already at 208, which is an extremely high rating. If we look at the ratings for the year, and I did this puts this puzzle as the 4th hardest this year. And it is by the constructor of the 2 hardest puzzles of the year, John Henderson, known as Enigmatist or Nimrod. And so I will be approaching it with a great deal of trepidation, but that is the challenge for today's Times Cryptic. Now, later today, I think at 4 p.m, the last 3 parts of Simon's Odyssey through Listen by Eck, which is the listener crossword. Actually, we can probably see it on a list here, can't we? There it is. Listen by Eck was the August the 8th prize listener crossword puzzle, and absolutely phenomenal it was. It's an extraordinary puzzle. So far, you can have watched Simon's efforts at the clues for 4 hours, I think it is, roughly. And the last 3 hours of the puzzle will hopefully bring him to the finish. But of course, he doesn't even know whether each session will get towards the end. He's working through the puzzle. The last 3 hours of it are a really fascinating watch of Simon's Odyssey through that puzzle. That's coming up for our Patreon subscribers and makes up a tiny bit perhaps for my failure to record my attempt at the Times Monthly Club special this month. That's why it hasn't appeared on Patreon, but you get 7 hours roughly of Simon trying to solve Listen by Eck, and it's a really interesting watch. So that will be on Patreon later, along with all our other Patreon stuff. There's also connections there and so on. And of course, our regular Sudoku videos will be appearing later today, both for myself and indeed for Simon. But that is enough ado. So I'm about to press the button and take on Times Cryptic number 29321 by John Henderson. And we'll see how we go with this one. It's going to be absolutely fascinatingly difficult. And we know that from the snitch. Same day numeric index of Times crossword hardness. That's what snitch stands for, I think. Something like that. Right. Let's call up the puzzle and try and explain it to you. So this is a cryptic crossword. Every clue, remember, has a definition, probably at the beginning or the end, and some wordplay. So we're just going to start in with one across and read it. Rob from Norfolk Town gathers groups of friends together. Beautifully worded. I suspect we're not looking for anybody called Rob, Robert or Robbie from a Norfolk town. Okay, there is a Norfolk town that appears in quite a lot of cryptic crosswords because of its incredibly useful letter string, and that is DIS. D-I-S-S. Yes, I've thought of a word for Rob that has dis around something in it. And that word is dispossess. So if you write dis, D-I-S, then a bit of a space and then a final S, and then you put posses in it, a posse is a group of friends in the sense of a gang rather than the original American posse trying to catch outlaws. It's nowadays a group of friends. So Rob is the definition here. And you get that from dis, gathering posses into it. So gathering is the kind of container indicator, and groups of friends together are posses. which is beautifully constructed. And what a surface in that clue, because it doesn't make you think about stealing much when you read that. Right, 1 down. Cast down just a little. Now, can down be clued by the letter D? Sorry, can down in the clue represent the letter D? Normally not, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, A and D for across and down are in just constant standard use by crossword aficionados, but they don't appear in chambers, so I'm not sure that it can be. Anyway, 1 down. I don't know what this is. Cast down. I don't think down can be the D that we're seeing. A tad is just a little. You could reverse that and get data, but I can't really see a reversal indicator, and I don't think cast means data. So I'm going to move on, and we're going to have to get the letter from 9 across and come back to 1 down. Okay, 2 down. 1 encapsulated by rolling waves, lapping edge of shore, question mark. 3, 4. 1 encapsulated by feels like wordplay of putting I into something. Rolling could be an anagram indicator. So if we put I into an anagram of waves, we're still 1 letter short of 7 letters. The edge lapping could be another container indicator, though. We had gathers in 1 across. We've had encapsulated in this clue as well. And now I think lapping could be another one. However, it feels like a problem, because if edge of shore is giving us one of the ends of shore, S or E, to give us our 7 letters, where's the definition? Well, remember, this might be an and lit clue, where the definition is the whole clue, just as the wordplay is the whole clue. It's a form of magic that some compilers can achieve. And now I'm looking at the letters I, waves, and either S or E to try and define 1 encapsulated by rolling waves lapping edge of shore, question mark. The question mark means you can take this fairly generously with a bit of license, and I think the answer C, view, might have 1 encapsulated by rolling waves lapping the edge of shore. It's a pretty precise description. And C view includes the letters of waves, hiding an I, and also lapping around an E for the edge of shore. So I think that's a very clever and lit. I'm going to have a look at the long one, beginning with O, but it's a very short clue for a 12-letter answer. Blasts of air, finished game. Finished could be over. In that case, the definition would be blasts of air, and some 8-letter game would come after finished. I mean, the game could be animals that get shot, or it could be a sport, over rounders or something. Blasts of air, overcurrents. Now, I can't quite make that work, although I feel I'm in the right. Finished might not mean over, but it might do, so I think I'm probably in the right territory. Let's have a look at 4 down. Silence, present helpers, largely set aside. Silence can be sh, sh, or it can be st, which is a kind of old way of saying be quiet, st. But silence, present, elves, are they present helpers? Yes. They help Santa with the presents. So silence is sh, and then elves largely is 4 out of 5 of the letter. Sorry, I got a message there from Simon saying this crossword is hard, which is no news to me. But I'm going to put in shelve, because to set aside is to shelve something. I think in America that can sometimes be to table something, but we don't use that. Anyway, that was sh and most of elves. Right, 5 down. With following wind, in last flight. Okay, there's a lot of ways of reading this. It could be with, could be the letter W, following could be the letter F. I will say that last flight cannot be the letter T, I don't think, because that's not precisely explaining how to get the letter from T. Lastly, flight could be T. But it could be, so W could be following a word for wind or wind. We might have to read it as wind in last flight. No, I'm not getting what that is. We'll have a look at 9 across. Pet cuckoo is tame, welcoming return of experts. Well, I'm afraid that the facility in my brain, which can sort of see what possible answers might go into spaces where you have word breaks and letters, solved this before I even read the clue, because I could see that Siamese cat would fit. Sorry. Siamese cat is a pet. Cuckoo can mean crazy, so it's an anagram indicator possibility. And definitely the letters of is, tame are involved in this. So Siam E, and then the final T, will leave us welcoming, another container indicator, the return of experts. And since that's SECA in the answer that I believe is right, we can turn that round and realize that the experts are aces. So this is a Siamese cat, which is aces backwards in an anagram of is tame. Now I'd better try and finish one down. Cast down just a little. Well, a dash in a recipe is just a little. Is to dash something to cast it down? Yes, if you dash something to the ground, that is casting it down. Good. Okay, this does still look like over something, but I didn't get very far with that. This hasn't improved much with following wind in last flight. I might be reading that wrong. I'm going to look at this 12 across. Now, 4, 4, 6, and we've got an I there and a V there, which is strongly suggesting the word over. Let's see what the, over's mentioned in the clue though. Way of overcoming pain through separating object and subject. Ah, well, there is a way of theoretically overcoming pain, which is mind over matter, and that fits beautifully. So why to object, not object, but object is to mind, and subject is matter. Through is over. That's again in the sense of being finished. And over is separating mind and matter in the word play. Right, back to 3 down. Over, and then game beginning with a D for blasts of air. Overdrafts. Well, overdrafts sounds like bank problems. Americans will be very surprised to learn that drafts and drafts are different words with different spellings, but the meanings overlap a bit here. That's really strange, but it is true. You can only spell the game of drafts, D-R-A-U-G-H-T, but you can only spell the bank overdraft, D-R-A-F-T. An overdraft in this spelling must be a current of air, because a draft that was a draft of wind is a D-R-A-U-G-H-T. It is strange, and there are spellings. If you were to draft a document, that could be D-R-A-U-G-H-T or D-R-A-F-T, and it's very difficult to keep these separate. I think American English very sensibly combines them all into D-R-A-F-T. Anyway, let's have a look at 5 down. With following wind in last flight. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it is, maybe with following wind, it's literally the definition. Stairway. A stairway would be a flight. Oh, air for wind. Yes, that's it. W for with, following air for wind in stay, which is last. If you stay the course or something, you last. There we go. Wow, that's a hard one. Right, 14 across. If upheld, such an appeal would lead to dismissal. I mean, if you're not raised in English culture and male, maybe, not so much these days, but traditional Englishness, how are you going to know anything about a cricket appeal? The standard cricket appeal from the phrase "how's that" is "how's that," spelled Howzat. And this is just, it's barely a cryptic definition. I guess it reads more like a court case, but to a cricket fan like myself, this just reads like a sentence from cricket. An appeal, "how's that," will lead to the dismissal of a batsman if the umpire upholds the appeal by raising his finger. And I think that's what's going on here. It's a barely disguised cryptic definition if you know your cricket. If you don't know your cricket, you can never solve that, I reckon. Never. That's what I'm going to say. Right, 15 across. I'm reminded that when we did a talk in Oxford about crosswords last year, one of the constructors on stage, we were asked the question from the audience, what standard convention in crosswords would you ban? And a lady compiler on stage suggested that she'd get rid of cricket terms, and she'll be raging about that one. Right, 15 across. Prime Minister going round each and every London street. See, that's, again, I've got this immediately from the word lengths. 4-4 with an A in second place and London Street. There are a number of ridiculously named London streets. There's one called Poultry in the city, and I mean, some of the tube stations are named after streets, you know, Piccadilly Circus, and Piccadilly itself is a ridiculous name for a street in a way. But there is also Pall Mall. And since Prime Minister can be PM, we could put that round all, and then we could write all, because each can be all and every can be all, and we get Pall Mall, a street that goes through, well, it runs from the Palace, doesn't it, down to Admiralty Arch. No, that's the Mall. Pall Mall is just north to that and is in Clubland, sorry. Right, 7 down. Masters receiving mortarboard for 1 sage. Masters. MA is a Master of Arts. So 2 of those would be MA, MA. And a mortarboard can be a hat, obviously. In fact, the main meaning these days of mortarboard is as the graduation hat. And if we put hat in the middle of MA, MA, we get Mahatma. Mahatma Gandhi was so called because Mahatma is an Indian word for a sage, a wise man. Okay, 6 across. European chap transmitted message out of America. Okay, I think a transmitted message in this case must be an email. America can be US or USA, but it can also be just the letter A sometimes. So if this email is out of or lacking A, we've got Emil, which I suppose qualifies as a European chap, meaning a name prevalent for men in Europe. Emil and the Detectives, perhaps, was set, I think, in Germany or the Netherlands. Right, 10 across. Cutting edge of Romany 15. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Romany is from the travelling people, gypsies as they used to be called. And there are a number of words from Romany dialects that have made their way into English, like chav or I'm struggling to think of many of them, but there are a few. Anyway, the cutting edge of that dialect is either shiv or chiv. And I wouldn't have thought of chiv. I was thinking mainly of shiv as I think that's also used as a knife in American prison slang, perhaps. And that's where it's come from. Anyway, what is XV doing, question mark? I think X is the Greek letter chi, C-H-I. That's how a capital chi is written. So I think we're being given wordplay to chi and then just V, very openly. And the definition is the first 4 words, cutting edge of Romany. And that gives us chiv. That's a tough word to put in the puzzle. We can already see a lot of letters, a lot of unusual letters in this puzzle. We've had a couple of V's, 3 V's actually, a Z. I wonder if it's going to be an attempt at a pangram. Anyway, let's have a look at 8 down. Being parasitic, one is a success by accident. Well, again, thank goodness for all the checking letters. I was thinking lava bread was the first thing I was thinking, but the R's wrong for bread. So liver fluke, that fits, and that is something, and I think it is a parasite that lives in your liver. So how does this work in the wordplay? Well, a fluke is an accident, and a liver is a success. No, that's not right. One is the definition of liver. Somebody who is or exists is living, so they're a liver. And then a fluke is a success by accident. Goodness me. Okay. Let's have a look at 11 down. Could it begin with table or... Well, it could begin with all sorts of things. Puts forward screening method. Acceptable protocol for consumption. Table manners. When you're consuming or eating at table, the acceptable protocol is table manners. So puts forward is tables. I was describing, that's really weird. When we had shelve, it reminded me of how to table emotion in Britain is to put it forward. That's exactly what we need here. Whereas in America, it's to shelve it or put it to the side, which is a weird business problem of translation that occasionally crops up. Anyway, this is tables screening manner, yet another container indicator. We've had about 7 of them in the puzzle already. And we get table manners. Okay, now if I get very lucky and I can solve 13 down, that'll give me a lot of first letters. Securely seal straitjacket, 6-4. Well, there's not a lot going on there, so the question mark indicates we may have a sort of pun. But it's securely seal, therefore. It's virtually a double definition, I think. And to securely seal something, well, if you vacuum packet something, which would also be 6-4, but don't you shrink wrap it? And a straitjacket would be a shrink wrap in the sense that a shrink or psychologist would wrap you in a straitjacket if they thought you were dangerous or crazy. So it's a sort of quite dark joke about confining the mentally ill. There we go. Let's have a look at 17 across. Built in from dollar, get nickels back. This seems to be about American currency, and I suspect it therefore isn't. Insignia would fit, and I don't think that's relevant to the clue. Impugned would fit. Built in from dollar, get nickels back. Nickel, if it was singular, could be Ni as a chemical element abbreviation. I suppose insignia has 2 NIs backwards in it. Oh no, it only has 1 backwards. No. I don't know what's going on there. I can't see the answer. We've got 2 more checking letters to get. Let's move on. 19 across. Get on to English evangelist about bishop. I think I appear in this. Not literally I, but my name. So to get on to something is to embass, entrain, or embark. And English can be the letter E. Mark is an evangelist, as well as yours truly. And bishop can be B, so we put E mark about B, and we get embark. Ooh, let's have a look at the long one. In fact, let's have a think about it before I even look at the clue. 4, 5, 6, with K and T at the start of the first. King? Or know thine onion. No. Keep? I don't know. Let's actually have a look at the clue. Enthusiastic Earl drinks in fine writer's advice on strategy. Keep would be quite good advice for something. Enthusiastic could be keen. Earl can be E, so keen E, drinks in. Fine can be F. Writer's advice, PTO? Keep. Because if I've got starting with keen, and putting something into that, keep T, I'm beginning with PT. PTO is advice from a writer to turn the letter over, but it's not quite working for me, and I don't know what the phrase is. And now I'm getting a bit worried about the bottom half of the puzzle. Right. Others take forcible control of broadcast. Rain can be controlled, and that's what I first thought of, but actually others can be rest. And yeah, there is obviously a word, W-R-E-S-T, and I think if you wrest something from someone, you take control of it, you take it away from them by a struggle, by force. So to take forcible control of is to wrest with a W. If you broadcast that, i.e. you listen to the homophone, the sound of it, you get rest, and that means others. There is an interesting confusion still carrying on in English, and the word rest is falling out of usage. I read this week a headline saying that Liverpool had wrestled a player from Chelsea. And I think the word is rested. They had been resting this player from Chelsea, i.e. sort of applying pressure and taking him away, transferring him. But the headline said wrestling, as though there was a real grapple going on. And I mean, the meanings are similar and overlapping, and I think it's a sort of eggcorn that wrestling has become the absolute standard phrase for resting something these days, which is a lot more graphic in terms of the metaphor. Anyway, let's have a look at the long one. 25 across. I never know how to pronounce this first word. I'm going to say innovative type, charged with taking a look around. Charged with, that's another container indicator, I think. So, innovative, it's sort of inventive, or that's not 10 letters. Type could be kind or sort, and if you charge that with take, I don't know. Agne. No, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try DJ, who promoted many series of changes on radio. This is a reference to John Peel, who for all of the 70s, 80s and 90s, probably not all of them, but huge chunks of them, hosted a late night show on Radio 1 and promoted many acts like, I don't know, as an example, the Undertones, who would never have become famous if it wasn't for John Peel playing their records. And a series of changes in bell ringing is a peal, P-E-A-L. Again, we've got a homophone indicator, which is on radio this time. And we get P-E-E-L, which is a reference to John Peel of Radio 1. Again, I'm the same age as Enigmatist, so that helps me. Right, 27 across. Warned not to pay. Might chap be in danger at work? Warned not to pay. Warned not to pay. I mean, I'm more familiar with being warned to pay. Might could be strength. Chap could be man. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on in that one. We've got a few downs that I haven't looked at, including 18 down with an S something E at the end. Piggy, at last, escapes extremely secure pens. Right, piggy can be a toe in children's slang, this little piggy. And another word for that is tootsie, and that would fit here. So I think this might be tootsie. Now, why? Piggy at last escapes rather. Extremely secure is making me think of the extreme letters of secure, S and E. And pens can be a container indicator, and that's not really working for tootsie. Maybe the letter Y could be piggy at last, escaping the word very for extremely. That would give you VER. But then secure, I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I expected to be able to solve that. When I thought of tootsie, I thought that'll probably be proved very quickly. And no such luck. Right, let's have a look at 20 down. Crown dependency. Close to nuclear area, turning on cabinet. Well, let's read that as close to nuclear. The letter R is the closing piece of nuclear. Area can be A. So close to nuclear and area could be RA, and if that was turning, that would be AR. So that might be the beginning of this. But then we're looking as a definition, crown dependency. Now, there are a few territories in the world that are remaining as crown dependencies. There are a few more that used to be. But I'm only thinking of things like Bermuda. I can't think of any that begin AR. I mean, there may be crowns that aren't the UK, so maybe Andorra is a crown dependency. And/or. No, I don't know what's going on. Oh, armoire is a cabinet. Ah, that's interesting. Right, the Isle of Man must be a crown dependency. IOM. Yes, okay, so this is armoire, which is a cabinet for, is it, I mean, presumably for clothes, although I'm not absolutely sure. And what we've got here is IOM for Isle of Man, and then R close to nuclear and A area. And that's all turning to give us ARMOI. Then the word on in the clue represents re, and we get armoire. And this M is bloomin' useful, because I have just thought of the phrase know thine enemy, which is it a sort of mock biblical phrase? I don't know. Why isn't it know your enemy? I don't know, but I know the phrase as know thine enemy, and that is advice on strategy. Now, where is the keen earl? Oh, keen earl is that K, and then E-E-N-E, keen earl, drinks in fine. Well, what he's drinking in is now thin. Thin can be fine. Oh, in is now. Something is very now if it's very in and popular and fashionable. Goodness me. So drinks is the container indicator, not drinks in. In represents now. Fine represents thin. Writers is my. This writer's thing is my thing. And we get know thine enemy, which is very useful. Now, I still think tootsie could work here, but I've not got a clue why. Toot. Can toot mean escape? If you're on the toot, I thought you were on a spree, on a binge. Maybe you're on the run or on the lamb. I still want this to be well, footsie would fit as well, but that's kind of an amorous dalliance between feet rather than a toe. Right, 17 across, probably a T in third place. Built in, integral. It's a hidden. This is a hidden. Simon tells us there's always a hidden. There isn't always a hidden, but there very often is. And there is one in this puzzle, and it's here. So from the phrase, or from the words, dollar get nickels, written backwards, you can see integral actually written in them. Goodness me. Okay, so this is Tootsie. I do want to explain it, and I'm struggling to. And is there a possibility that there is a spelling T-O-O-T-S-E-E? That would be hideous. Piggy at last. Well, piggy, that's the definition. So at last escapes. Ah, yes. So S is the last letter of escapes. So that's at last escapes. And that's being penned by two tie. Two is extremely, and tie is secure. If you secure something, you tie it. And now I've understood Tootsie, and that was hard. Black mineral providing the exterior for a great hall. I haven't even read this, and I know the answer. It's basilica, which is a great hall or a sort of cathedral thing. Black can be B, and that's how I got onto this. But silica can be a mineral. So B silica is providing the exterior for the letter A. And we get basilica. Okay, I don't think I've read 21 down either. As Charles is no good at all, stop. As Charles is no good at all, stop. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, shall I look at the short one or the long acrosses again? Let's look at the short one. Old Impressionist wanting last piece mounted. Old Impressionist, why would Monet or Manet or somebody, or Degas, be an old impression? Degas, that's it. Right, it's just an impressionist, Degas, wanting his last piece, the letter S. That gets mounted and you get aged, and old is the definition. Well, that's handy. Okay, let's have a look at the one across the bottom. Oh, this is warned not to pay. Might chap be in danger at work? Oh, at work could be an anagram indicator. So we could be using the letters of danger. Then it would have to end in END, wouldn't it? Oh no, garnished. That's got the letters of danger in it. Is he? Right, that's it. It is garnished. Garnished is a legal term. Garnish is a legal term even, apart from the cooking term. But I'm going to just have to rely on the clue to tell me what it means, which is being warned not to pay something. Or at least garnishing is warning not to pay something. But what we've got in the wordplay is he, representing might chap be? And then that has been put in an anagram of danger, because danger is at work. The letters are all sort of working around into that form. And the answer is garnished, which is a very unusual word. Let's have a look at 25 across. Innovative type. Charged with taking a look around. Seeing? Eyeing? What's around doing? I don't know. That feels very difficult. I'm going to go back to 21 down. As Charles is this about King Charles now? No good at all. Stop. Rein in if you... Oh, reining. Yes. Yes. That was a lucky thought. Okay, if you stop something, you rein it in. So to rein in is to stop. That's the definition. As Charles is, King Charles is reigning at the moment, but there's no G at all in reigning. We've taken both of the G's out of reigning and we get rein in. And that is the answer there. And now I've thought of a word that means innovative, which is pioneering. And that is going to be the answer. Why, I wonder? I have no idea. Let's have a look at this wordplay. Type charged with taking a look around. One is in that? Yeah, peering. No, I'm not quite right. Ion is the type charged. Ion is a sort of charged particle, so I suppose it's a type. I don't know, I would have thought a type was more a person, but anyway. Ion is the type charged, and it's got peering around it, which is taking a look, and that gives us pioneering. And there is the solution to this extraordinary puzzle. And let's submit that and just check that it's right. I mean, words like chiv and garnished appearing, it is right, appearing in the same puzzle. Extraordinary. The red letter is just where I finished, not an error. And I'm very pleased to have got through that. It was indeed very difficult. Mind over matter, know thine enemy, overdrafts, table manners. Some great vocabulary in that, some really interesting, it certainly wasn't a pangram, but it was a very interesting set of words and very good fun. Let's have a look at the leaderboard. Verlaine, 32 minutes. What the heck? Verlaine is Matthew Marcus, who has won the Times Crossword Championship and also finished second in it, is a phenomenally good solver. Probably a favourite to beat me next time. And he took 32 minutes. I haven't seen any other names that I know well. I mean, what is really strange here is that I think we know F. Shepherd, Mike D. 1961 and Chris Words don't solve it themselves. I think they type in the answers, and even they've taken, I mean, that may be a vile calumny. But for Verlaine to take 32 minutes, what other names do I know? I don't know any of these other names. What could have happened today is that people could have got answers wrong. Very good solvers could have had a go at this and got things wrong. Somebody has taken 112.50. Okay, here's one of the typists. Solver 52 has just typed in his answer in 3 minutes 39, and hurrah, he's got one wrong. But I feel sorry for Aphis 99, Andy Fisher. Very good solver, 11.10. Pretty good time, but an error. My guess about the error is shiv instead of chiv because of not recognising the Greek letter in the wordplay, and shiv being a more likely word for a Romany knife. Do I recognise any of these other one error names? Not many. And only 46 people have had a go at, have sort of submitted anything by 9:30. That's also indicative that this is extremely hard. That Verlaine time is absolutely, you know, there's a chance Verlaine got interrupted while doing it, but I suspect not. I suspect he struggled over one or two particular answers. And that is just fascinating. What a tricky puzzle. Great fun. Now, let's go back and have a go at the quick cryptic at speed, just to try and get some speed chops going, and hopefully you can enjoy that. You can see the puzzle good. Right, evil sort of long-term prisoner holding copper back. Don't know. Large doctor breaking one's legs. Don't know. Aryan is cast in more concise curtain raiser, I think. Not 100% sure, but it looks like a lot of anagram there. Female is not commonly. F ain't. Concerning fast, relent, give in, that works. Okay, we've got Lucifer, evil sort. UC is backwards in it, that's good. Combatants, violent, alarmist trait, that's an anagram. Martial artist. Is that what you call a karate expert? Very strict, Spartan, part in SAN. Large doctor breaking one's legs, limbs now. Right, 5 down. Ideal man's power to accommodate bishop. Mr. Right, RR can be right reverend or a bishop. Slipshod head of programming, ain't developing attention. Trim, spick and span, I'm not sure. Let's try, oh, they're muses. Let's try 7 down. Convince, express about the independent sports feat. TISF, satisfy. Okay. 10 across. Grand young woman, miss, one that can hold a drink. Glass, G lass, that's it. Scandinavian article about depression on the contrary. Danish, must be. An in dish, goodness me. Heavy, old dog, disheartened, mistype, stodgy. Gain knowledge from, that's learn. Spend a lot on French version of the scream. Right, let's do this. Ship. Slipshod head of programming, ain't developing. Spit and polish, that's what it is. Right, British dame hosting priest and lama? No, composer must be Delebe. Eli in DBE. Right, tabloid space that could sun something. I don't know, it could be sun anything. Adhesive containing trace of this, that's letter T. Statin and stain? Probably actually is. Small mammal, quiet on top of woodpile. Is that a P for quiet? No, it's shrew, S-H-R-E-W. Mathematician almost finds Italian city. Siena? Not sure. Let's try this. Spend a lot. Oh, that's lash out. So statin was wrong. I bet it ends in an N anyway. Lash out. That's quite funny. Right. Inert sort. Unexpectedly bitten by Dutch South African dog. Basset? Basker? Boa? Boston Terrier. That's what it is. Starts to spray crowd with drink. Scrum. Mild rebuke. Now then? Yes, it is now then. With not the phrase not when, partly backtracking. So that must be a sunroom. This is gluten. Glue containing not fluten, gluten. And finally, what have we got here? Turing nearly. Okay, so that was nice and quick and restores one's faith in being able to do these fairly fast. So thank you very much for watching this video again today. Do have a look at Listen by Eck. Well, at 4 p.m. today, I think the last parts are coming out on Patreon, and I think it's an absolutely fascinating puzzle. As was Enigmatis effort in today's times. Brilliant puzzle. Thank you for watching. We really hope to see you in the Sudoku videos later, and we'll be back for another masterclass next Friday. Bye for now.